Welcome to Dinosaur Drive-Thru. You're about to embark on a Dino-mite dinosaur adventure. My name is Jurassic Jim, and I'll be one of your tour guides. Before we begin, let's talk safety. For those brave enough to drive this tour, the maximum speed is 5 miles per hour, and please keep a safe distance from the vehicle in front of you. For those fearless enough to be passengers, please remain completely in your vehicle at all times, unless you're at one of our restroom areas. And finally, for your safety, please do not laugh at the CARNOTAURUS or the T-Rex's arms. They are pretty sensitive about them, and you don't want to get on their bad side. Also, please do not feed any of the dinosaurs. Someone gave a Stegosaurus fast food a couple days ago, and now everyone is calling the poor guy Fartosaurus. Oh, and let me explain the scorecard. First, pick a scorekeeper. Every scene will have a multiple-choice trivia question. When you hear the question, choose an answer and circle it. Then wait for the correct answer. If you get it right, your scorekeeper will put a point next to the question. The person in your vehicle that guesses the most correct answers will be titled our official Dinosaur Drive-Thru Guru, and will even get an official certificate. Let's give it a try. Here's the first question. The Mesozoic era was also called the Age of Dinosaurs. How many periods were there in the Mesozoic era? 1, 3, or 20? Please say your answer out loud, circle your choice, and then wait for the correct answer. The answer is 3. Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. Scorekeeper, do your thing. Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous sound sciencey, but think of it like this. There were the 1800s, 1900s, and the 2000s, each 100 years long, and they're very different from each other. Well, the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods were kind of like that, but instead of 100 years long, each period lasted 1,000,000 years. Just kidding. Each period was actually more like 50 million years. That's crazy. Okay, enough talking. Make some noise if you're ready to see some dinosaurs. No, really. If you love dinosaurs as much as we do, make some noise! Please pause the audio tour and press play when you get to the first dinosaur scene. Pause now. Our tour starts like the dinosaurs did, in the Triassic period, occurring between 200 and 250 million years ago, and I can't think of a better person to guide you than Triassic Troy.
Thanks, Jurassic Jim. The Triassic period was the dawn of the age of dinosaurs, and it began after Earth's worst ever extinction event about 250 million years ago. Only about 16 dinosaurs lived in the late Triassic period, including this one, the SEA-LOW-FIE-SIS. SEA-LOW-FIE-SIS have been found in the USA, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. It had hollow bones which lightened its frame to make it quick. This scrappy predator was about 9 feet long. Its speed, its dozens of saw-like teeth, and 3 clawed fingers on each hand made it easy to catch small reptiles and fish. Some fossils of SEA-LOW-FIE-SIS stomachs actually had other SEA-LOW-FIE-SIS bones in it. From what we know, this is the only dinosaur believed to occasionally eat its own.
Oh my gosh.
Next trivia question. SEA-LOW-FIE-SIS is the state fossil for which state? Arizona, Nevada, or New Mexico? The answer is New Mexico. Located in northern New Mexico, Ghost Ranch has become one of the Western Hemisphere's most famous bone beds, thanks to the discovery of several hundred SEA-LOW-FIE-SIS specimens. Seeing some of the bones might be creepy, but others might find them humorous. Thank you. Please pause the audio until you reach the next scene. Pause now. Next is the PLATEOSAURUS, found in France, Germany, and Switzerland. They had 5-fingered hands and used them to pull leaves off trees. Since they had weak teeth, they used their large thumb claws to defend themselves against predators. Even though it had 4 legs, the palms are turned in, meaning the giant PLATEOSAURUS walked on 2 legs like you and me. Next question. The PLATEOSAURUS only ate plants. What is the scientific term for dinosaurs that only ate plants? Herbivore, vegetarian, omnivore. The answer is herbivore. By the way, is this your first time to Dinosaur Drive-Thru, or have you been herbivore? Please pause the audio until the next scene. Next up is the pterosaur, which actually means winged lizard. Most of us commonly use the name pterodactyl as a catch-all for prehistoric flying reptiles, but not you, not anymore. You'll now know they are called pterosaurs. Pterodactyls were the first known pterosaurs when their fossils were discovered in Germany in the late 1700s. Since the discovery of the pterodactyl, more than 150 species of flying reptiles have been identified. Some are small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, while others had 30-foot wingspans. Why can't you hear a pterodactyl go to the bathroom? The P is silent. Get it? Sorry, that was a terrible joke. Next trivia question. True or false? The pterosaur is a dinosaur. The answer is false. Pterosaurs were cousins of the dinosaurs that evolved from a land-dwelling reptile. New research has revealed that pterosaurs were actually feathered or fuzzy, which means they were probably warm-blooded, like bats and birds. Pterosaurs' closest living relatives are actually two completely different animals, crocodiles and birds. Please pause the audio until you reach the next scene. Hold your breath as we dive deep to meet the plesiosaur. Like pterosaurs, plesiosaurs existed in all three Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods. They were long-necked marine animals that have been discovered all over the world. 938 different specimens have been discovered. Studies show plesiosaurs were likely not cold-blooded, but warm-blooded like whales, and also reproduced through live birth. In the 1930s, the idea that a few plesiosaurs still lived in Scotland as Loch Ness monsters captured the public's imagination. Next question. Plesiosaurs grew to what average size? 13 feet, 23 feet, or 43 feet? Pick an answer, please, Eosaur. The answer is, on average, 13 feet. Pause the audio until you reach the next scene. Now, let's head over to the most famous period, the Jurassic period. Jurassic times call for Jurassic measures. Jurassic Jim, they're all yours.
Thanks, Triassic Troy. The Jurassic period is the middle of the Mesozoic era, also known as the Age of Reptiles. There were about 89 different dinosaurs that existed from early to mid to the late Jurassic era. There were 20 dinosaurs from the early Jurassic period, including this one, Dilophosaurus. The Dilophosaurus was a fast-moving, meat-eating dinosaur that paleontologists believed may have hunted very large dinosaurs. The pair of thin, bony crests on its head may have been just for display. Thanks to its inaccurate portrayal in Jurassic Park, the Dilophosaurus might be the most misunderstood dinosaur ever. The biggest fabrication being its sprayed burning venom. Not only was the Dilophosaurus not poisonous, but also there's no convincing evidence that any dinosaur sprayed poison. The movie Dino was also portrayed as a cute, playful dog-sized critter, but the real dinosaur measured about 20 feet from head to tail and weighed around 1,000 pounds. Next question. What do they call a scientist who specializes in studying the fossils of dinosaurs? Archaeologist, paleontologist, or osteologist? The answer is paleontologist. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Next up, LUFUNG-OH-SORE-US. Discovered in China, the LUFUNG-OH-SORE-US was a close relative of the PLATEOSAURUS from the Triassic period. It most likely ate plants, but its teeth were blade-like with crowns that were wider at the bottom, so it may have also eaten small animals. The front legs of the LUFUNG-OH-SORE-US were shorter than the powerful back legs. It walked on all fours, but probably rose on its back legs to feed on tall plants. The hands of the LUFUNG-OH-SORE-US had large thumbs with claws, used for getting food and probably defending itself. A skeleton of the LUFENGOSAURUS was the first dinosaur on display in China and even appeared on a Chinese postal stamp. Next question. What do they call dinosaurs that eat both plants and animals? Omnivore, bidivore, Epicurean. And the answer is omnivore. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Next, we'll travel to the mid-Jurassic period. That was from about 164 to 174 million years ago. During this era, 26 dinosaurs existed, including this big fella, the Omisaurus. Paleontologists found 11 different specimens of the Omisaurus in the 1930s in China. It was named after the sacred mountain of Omishan, located near where the first skeleton was excavated. Most skeletons were unearthed in the 70s and 80s as part of the Great Chinese Dinosaur Rush. Google that.
Wow.
They were obviously herbivores because, well, I don't think there was much success in chasing other dinosaurs.
Aww.
They were built more for chasing ferns. Omisaurus had an extraordinarily long neck with 17 vertebrae. The longest neck was about 30 feet long. A 67-foot-long skeleton is on display at a Chinese museum. Next trivia question. True or false? The Omisaurus had the longest neck of any dinosaur. You and your Omis, pick an answer. The answer is false. The MAMENCHISAURUS has a longer neck. We'll meet her in a minute. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Time to move on to the late Jurassic period. 43 dinosaurs from the late Jurassic period existed from 145 to 165 million years ago, including this cuddly creature, the Allosaurus. Allosaurus was first discovered in 1877 in both the United States and Portugal and became one of the first well-known dinosaurs. The Allosaurus was one of the deadliest hunters of the prehistoric world. These dinosaurs were ferocious meat-eaters with huge jaws lined with razor-sharp teeth that were each 2 to 4 inches long and curved backwards to prevent any prey from escaping. What makes them even more terrifying is that unlike the T-Rex, they could reach speeds of up to 35 miles per hour. And the hand claws of the Allosaurus were a lot longer. Next question. Animals that only eat meat exclusively are called what? Carnivores, omnivores, or huntivores? The answer is carnivore. Please pause the audio and I will meet you at the next scene. We still don't know which dinosaur was the world's all-time largest, but at an estimated 115 feet in length, the MAMENCHISAURUS is in the running. Their long, 30-foot necks would have made giraffes feel self-conscious. Let's put that in perspective, shall we? Your neck is probably 4 inches long. The average school bus is 30 feet long. I would not want to be a MAMENCHISAURUS with a sore throat. It had spatula-shaped teeth that were ideal for gathering bundles of leaves in huge gulps. It had an almost straight, near-horizontal posture, so despite how high it could reach, it usually grazed at low or medium heights. Next trivia question. How did the MAMENCHISAURUS reproduce? Lay eggs, live birth, or a storchodactyl? And the answer is lay eggs. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Most of you should know this next dinosaur, so say it with me all together. Stegosaurus. On average, they were 30 feet long, 14 feet tall, and weighed 2 tons. An interesting fact about its bony plates on its back is that they were not attached to its skeleton, but were actually embedded in its skin, which is why, in most fossil finds, the plates were separated from the body. Though mighty in size, its brains were the size of a ping-pong ball. How could a 4-ton dinosaur possibly survive with so little upstairs? Well, As a general rule, an animal only has to be slightly smarter than the food it eats. And it eats plants. Paleontologists once thought that the Stegosaurus had a brain in its butt. But that was eventually proven to be false and came to an abrupt end. Next trivia question. The Stegosaurus is the state dinosaur of which state? Colorado, Utah, Oregon. Use your big brains to answer the question. The answer is Colorado. Pause now and resume audio at the next scene. The last dinosaur that we will show you from the late Jurassic period was the Camarasaurus. Many long-necked dinosaur or sauropod fossils are scarce, and most are missing significant chunks. Camarasaurus isn't one of them. In fact, in America, it's the most commonly found dinosaur from the late Jurassic period. Its name means chambered lizard. The Camarasaurus spine has hollow chambers. In theory, these would have both reduced its weight and connected a series of air sacs to help it breathe more efficiently. It also played a role in the notorious Is the Brontosaurus Real saga. Google that.
Whoa!
Well, that's it for the Jurassic period. Next up is the incredible Cretaceous period. And there's no one better to take you through it than Cretaceous Katie.
Hi, everyone. I am Cretaceous Katie. A lot of dinosaurs from Jurassic Park were actually from the Cretaceous period. It was the last period of the Mesozoic era that happened from 65 to 145 million years ago, ending with the extinction of all dinosaurs. Next trivia question. How many dinosaurs lived in the Cretaceous period? 50, 100, or 200? The answer is 200. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. There were 64 different dinosaurs from the early Cretaceous period, including the AMARGASAURUS. Found in Argentina and named after their La Amarga rock formation, the AMARGASAURUS was unique because of its double row of spines along its back, which may have supported a twin sail of skin. The spines on its neck vertebrae were incredibly long. By bending its head downward, some think the AMARGASAURUS could aim them at oncoming predators and hope that the display looked scary enough to leave them alone. Next trivia question. How many recovered AMARGASAURUS fossils have been found? 1, 100, or over 200? The answer is 1. Thankfully, it was almost entirely complete. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. This one's name looks like Gigantosaurus and actually was one of the largest meat-eating dinosaurs, but its name is pronounced GIGANOTOSAURUS. Part of what has made GIGANOTOSAURUS so famous so quickly is that it was a little bit taller, longer, and outweighed the T-Rex by almost a ton. GIGANOTOSAURUS had 3 fingers on its hands, not 2 like the T-Rex. It may have been bigger and faster than a T-Rex, but oddly enough, its brain was only about half the size. GIGANOTOSAURUS's tiny brain appears to have been about the shape and weight of a banana. Next trivia question. GIGANOTOSAURUS weighed up to 30 tons. How many elephants is that equal to? 2, 10, or 30 elephants? See if you know the answer. The answer is 2 elephants. Pause and resume audio at the next scene. Wheresaurus was a very strange-looking dinosaur and unusual stegosaur. It was about 27 feet long, about 6 feet tall, and weighed up to 4 tons. Most stegosaurs had tall, triangle-shaped plates on their back, but Wherasauruses were short and square. One theory is that the plates could keep them warm or cool. They would stand facing the sun, kind of like solar panels today, and absorb the energy. The 4 bony spikes at the end of its tail were to protect it from predators. Next trivia question. True or false? For the past 200 years, scientists still have no idea how dinosaurs mated. The answer is true. There is nothing even close to a general consensus on how dinosaurs actually mated. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Next up is the iguanodon. A lot of people might think it's related to the modern iguana, but that is far from true. Believe it or not, iguanas were actually discovered before these dinosaurs, and they're still around.
Wow.
Iguanodon was named for its teeth due to its similarities to the iguana. They were big and bulky, growing up to 40 feet long and weighing up to 3 tons. They had a hip structure similar to birds and also had a beak. One of the coolest features of the iguanodon is that their thumbs were spikes. Next trivia question. How many different dinosaurs have been discovered in England? 11, 21, or 31? The answer is 21. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene, if you wanna. Okay, our final period on our tour is the late Cretaceous period. Ankylosaurus roamed the grounds of the United States and Canada. They were one of the last remaining dinosaurs. As an adult, these living tanks could easily reach up to 30 feet long and weighed up to 6.5 tons. As compared to their bodies, these dinosaurs had surprisingly small teeth. It had a wide, heavily armored skull. Its body was covered in scales, but the most amazing thing about the Ankylosaurus is its tail. It had a massive tail club, which it swirled around during battles to create massive energy, being able to break the thick bones of its competitor. Next trivia question. The bone plates on an Ankylosaurus are known as what? Stalagmites, scutes, or magma? The answer is scutes. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Okay, this is a terrifying one. With devil horns protruding from both sides of its head, Carnotaurus was nothing less than the devil of the prehistoric world. Its name translates to the meat-eating bull. Talk about scary. I'm pretty sure other dinosaurs dressed up as a Carnotaurus for Halloween. The only Carnotaurus fossil discovered was found in South America in 1984. The average length was 28 feet, weighed 2,200 pounds, and could run up to 25 miles per hour. Its teeth and arms were smaller than those found on a T-Rex. A very unique feature, aside from the horns on its head, is that its eyes faced forward. Next trivia question. The Carnotaurus and T-Rex were part of a group of dinosaurs known as what? Sauropods, theropods, or ipods? The answer is theropods, meaning three-toed legs or beast-footed. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Jurassic Jim, can you take over the tour?
Yeah, sure. Is everything okay?
A T-Rex may or may not have escaped.
Again? All right, I'll take over the tour. You go tell the rest of the team to be on high alert. Hey everyone, look at this cute little oviraptor. He's not too scary and definitely can't eat a triceratops. Speaking of, if you happen to see any large dinosaurs that look like a T-Rex, could you let one of our team members know immediately? Anyways, back to the oviraptor. Talk about an ultimate case of wrongfully accused. This parrot-beaked dino was first found in Mongolia in 1924. Lying beside that skeleton were some fossilized eggs thought to have been laid by a different dinosaur. So, the paleontologists called the new critter Oviraptor, or egg thief. In 1994, 70 years after its discovery, very similar-looking eggs were discovered, eggs which contained Oviraptor-like embryos. Therefore, the poor original specimen probably wasn't an egg thief, but instead a sweet-loving mother tending to her babies. Though raptor is in its name, it is very different from the velociraptor. The oviraptor was only about 5 feet long and weighed less than 100 pounds. The oviraptor did not have teeth. Instead, it had a beak with spikes on the roof of its mouth, so we assume it fed on oysters, clams, lizards, and veggies. Next trivia question. How many different kinds of raptors are there? 5, 25, 55. The answer is 25. Yes, there are 25 different kinds of raptors. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Next up, the PACK-EE-SEF-AH-LOW-SORE-US. Its average length was 15 feet and weighed around 900 pounds. The PACK-EE-SEF-AH-LOW-SORE-US had 2 arms with 5 clawed fingers and walked on 2 legs with 3 clawed toes. The dome-shaped skull is about 30 times thicker and stronger than a modern-day human skull, and is believed to have been used by males to chase off rival mates or defend itself from a T-Rex, which, in hindsight, would have been a much better dino to put next to the T-Rex instead of a Triceratops. Next trivia question. True or false? PACK-EE-SEF-AH-LOW-SORE-US heads were once mistaken for dinosaur kneecaps. The answer is true. Unlike us, dinosaurs lack kneecaps altogether. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Next up, the Parasaurolophus. It was an estimated 31 feet long and weighed almost 3 tons. The Parasaurolophus was a herbivore and ate a wide variety of vegetation. It had hundreds of teeth that were stacked into multiple rows. As teeth were worn down, new ones would work their way up. Paleontologists think that the Parasaurolophus walked on all 4 legs but could also walk on 2. One of the most notable features of a Parasaurolophus is their long, curved cranial crest. Inside, a bunch of hollow chambers merge directly into its nasal passages. In the 90s, a group of American paleontologists and computer scientists teamed up to revive the beast's ancient roar. After scanning the nooks and crannies of a large skull, they managed to simulate the eerie noises that the Parasaurolophus probably sent echoing across prehistoric valleys. Here's a clip of the actual recording. Is it weird that I kind of want one as my ringtone? Next trivia question, which movie did not feature a Parasaurolophus? Jurassic Park, The Land Before Time, or Ice Age? The answer is Ice Age. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Oh no, the loose T-Rex is right in front of us. Wow, she's a big one. It looks like her and her baby are looking for the Triceratops. So, if we drive around them, maybe they won't notice us.
Jurassic Jim?
Yeah, what's up, Cretaceous Katie?
We need backup. You have experience with this from last time?
I'm on my way. I'll have Triassic Troy take it from here.
Ah, it's good to be back. Don't be afraid. None of our guests have been eaten. Yet. So far. this week. Hey look, a Spinosaurus! Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. This massive carnivore was first discovered in Egypt in the early 1900s. Estimates put its weight up to 23 tons and up to 60 feet long and was the king predator of its time. The Spinosaurus is the largest carnivorous dinosaur and the most unique dinosaur to exist. The crocodile-shaped skull of the Spinosaurus was over 5 feet in length and contained many sharp knife-like teeth. Until just recently, a new fossil shows the Spinosaurus had a unique fin-like tailbone, which suggests the Spinosaurus could have been equally a land and swimming predator. It had pressure sensors on its snout, just like alligators, to detect potential prey moving in the water. Next trivia question. True or false? The original Spinosaurus fossils are still on display in Germany. The answer is false. They were destroyed in 1944 by Allied bombing during World War II. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. The Styracosaurus, or spike lizard, was discovered in 1913 in Canada. The Styracosaurus was believed to be a dinosaur that traveled in herds with the average length around 18 feet and weight around 3 tons. It used the horn protruding from its nose, which could grow up to 2 feet long, and the 6 spikes on its incredible neck frill to defend against predators, attract mates, and regulate its body temperature. It may have also run up to 20 miles per hour. Next trivia question. What is currently the #1 university to study paleontology? Harvard, Virginia Tech, or Ohio State? The answer is Virginia Tech. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Hey, there's the other Triceratops. It escaped the T-Rex and didn't get eaten after all. This is fantastic news. Aside from the fact that we still have a T-Rex on the loose. Back to the Triceratops. The Triceratops was discovered in 1887 near Denver, Colorado. It weighed up to 13 tons and was over 25 feet long and could run up to 20 miles per hour. The Triceratops used its parrot-like beak to eat foliage near the ground. Living during the same time periods, it is believed that the Triceratops often had to defend itself from the T-Rex with its 3 horns and the bony frill on its head. The skull of a Triceratops was an amazing 1/3 the length of its entire body, making its fossil a prized collector's item. In 2008, a wealthy dinosaur fan purchased a specimen named Triceratops Cliff for $1 million and donated it to the Boston Museum of Science. Next trivia question. Which state claims the Triceratops as its state dinosaur? Wyoming, Colorado, or Nevada? Try and Serra-top your opponents. The answer is Wyoming. Even though the Triceratops was discovered in Colorado, it is Wyoming's state dinosaur and the state fossil of South Dakota. Makes perfect sense, right? Please pause the audio and resume the audio at the next scene.
Hey, Triassic Troy, this is Cretaceous Katie. Great news! The T-Rex has been recaptured and no one was eaten. Now that that's over with, I'd like to continue with the tour.
Okay.
Next up is the famous Velociraptor. After Jurassic Park hit theaters, this Central Asian predator had a sudden and dazzling rise to superstardom. Unfortunately, when all said and done, they were based on a completely different animal called Deinonychus. Most of what people think they know about Velociraptor is wrong. So, let's get acquainted with the real deal. The average Velociraptor wasn't much bigger than a large turkey, weighing between 33 and 43 pounds, with a length of up to 7 feet and a top running speed of 40 miles per hour. On each foot, there was a specialized toe with a huge hooked claw. It was thought while walking around, Velociraptor held them high up off the ground in order to keep those claw tips sharp. Scientists now think that they instead turned their toe claws into gripping gear. They now also think velociraptors occasionally climb trees and bigger dinos with relative ease. 80 million years ago, you might have been just as likely to get pooped on by a raptor than eaten by one. Lastly, paleontologists also think the velociraptor may have been covered in feathers. Next trivia question. Some of the raptor noises used in Jurassic Park were actually mating sounds from which animal? Tortoise, crocodile, or iguana? The answer is the tortoise. Please pause the audio and resume audio at the next scene. Next up, the most famous dinosaur of all time, made right here in the US of A. The name Tyrannosaurus means tyrant lizard. The definition of tyrant is a cruel, unreasonable, and oppressive ruler. In other words, the T-Rex didn't mess around. Estimates put the weight of a T-Rex up to 16 tons, 42 feet in length, and could run from 10 to 25 miles per hour. In 1990, the most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil ever discovered was in South Dakota by Susan Hendrickson. It was named Sue after its discoverer and sold to the Field Museum in Chicago for a staggering $8.3 million, the most money ever paid for a fossil. The Tyrannosaurus Rex had between 50 and 60 banana-sized teeth and had the strongest bite of any land animal that has ever lived. It could eat up to 500 pounds of meat and bone in one bite. The T-Rex was super smart, too, boasting a brain twice as big as other giant carnivores. This deadly dinosaur's two tiny clawed arms remain a bit of a mystery to this day. Many scientists think they may have been used to help these skilled hunters grab and slash their prey, but difficult to pick their nose. Point at the person in your vehicle that picks their nose the most. Ew. Tyrannosaurus Rex may have towered over its Cretaceous competition, but for the first 80 million years, most were no bigger than humans, which still doesn't sound any less terrifying to me. Next trivia question. Tyrannosaurus Rex, Iguanodon, and what other dinosaur were the inspiration used to create Godzilla? Spinosaurus, Stegosaurus, or Triceratops? The answer is Stegosaurus. Please pause the audio and resume at the next scene. Is this dinosaur real? No. Is it real awesome? Absolutely. The incredible Indominus Rex was a fantasy creature created for the movie Jurassic World. In the movie, it was a hybrid dinosaur created to boost declining attendance to the theme park. They combined the base DNA of a T-Rex with a velociraptor. It also contained the genetic material of numerous other species, including the CARNOTAURUS, GIGANOTOSAURUS, and an assortment of modern animals such as cuttlefish, tree frogs, and pit vipers. The Indominus Rex also was given an exclusive adaptive camouflage gene to make it blend into its surrounding with ease. 2 Indominus were originally born, but as the years passed on, one ate the other. Pretty glad those are make-believe. Well, that's it for the late Cretaceous period. Let's send it back over to Jurassic Jim.
This is Jurassic Jim one last time to tell you that this tour is now extinct. Congratulations! None of you got eaten. I know, I'm sad too, but all good things must come to an end, kind of like dinosaurs. We hope your adventure with us will be fossilized in your memories for years to come. All of us here at Dinosaur Drive-Thru would like to thank you for being a part of our adventure. Don't forget to total up your scorecard points because the winner gets an official certificate to show off your dino smarts to everyone you know. And please tell your friends about us and leave a review on our Google or Facebook page. It really helps us a lot knowing what parts of the tour you like the most and what we could do to make your next experience even better. See you next time. Travel safe, everyone.